Betsy had been captured / befriended by Mothman, and Oliver and John had barricaded themselves, at least metaphorically, in John's old home, the den of the dreaded Marjorie.
Hey, that woman knows how to break a heart, but she also knows how to build a foundation.
Marjorie built this house?
It was a group project, but yeah, mostly. John has a faint look in his eye and he goes, yeah, she's a tough one.
Betsy, the process has been an interesting one. Dying was certainly pleasant and unpleasant all on its own. Waking up to the hunger was something else. The meal that you were given was cold and sweet, still writhing, but the moment you felt its life leave its body, it ripened. The neck, taut and strong, that you had your fangs sunk into, becomes mushy in your mouth as you feel something in it, something in the blood, pass, writhing into the maw of your beast. You were given a kindred for your first meal.
What does it feel like not being magic anymore? Do I
I
feel something missing now that the beast has replaced?
The burning curiosity, the burning genius, that voice in your head that would supply you with all of the more enlightened ideas, how to modify the camera, things like that. You haven't really encountered an experience at the moment of narration at this point, but eventually you will. Eventually you do find that when you try to summon that voice of genius, when you try to summon that voice of inspiration, you feel only hunger and a pulsating power of the blood.
Brutal.
Betsy, your moth husband will certainly teach you his version of the ways and what he will call the metamorphosis. The beast inside of you that will, each time it takes over, change you a little bit, bring you closer to the moth people. It will get worse before it gets better, he will tell you.
Do I remember what my actual backstory is after being turned?
The social conditioning is still not entirely rid itself from you. You certainly know that the dream that your avatar gave you was more accurate than your memories of the event in your waking days. The gaps can be filled in what year you were here, and the 2 and 2 could equal 4 that you were recruited from your encounter with him and not from your significant photographic talents. Not
Understood.
quite understanding what he meant by metamorphosis and that it may get worse before it gets better, and instead obsessed with being Mothwoman.
Mothwoman!
You may have allowed the frenzy to happen. Under what circumstances? Assuming that Betsy has been given basic information about, no sunlight, yes blood, crosses, shove it up their ass.
If fire seems likely, I would probably get like a camp stove and try and observe the fire closer than I feel comfortable with, figuring out what the line is.
Game.
Yes.
It's certainly an unpleasant experience. Your beast very much tries to dissuade you, and it doesn't rise to the bait at a single flame. It is a moth, after all, and there is a part of it that is attracted to the flame. You will need a bigger flame than that if you want to try to initiate the red fear.
Am I streetwise enough to find an abandoned house to burn?
Yeah, I think you can find an abandoned house to burn.
I'm morbidly curious. Fire used to be something that I was okay with, and this is clearly something affecting how I work. I need to understand. And the fact that I'll be Mothwoman afterward has nothing to do with the decision, I swear. Yeah, I briefly consider starting the fire with me inside, but decide that's a good way to die. So I'll start a small fire inside and let it go out of control. I'm starting from a little ways away, but I'm definitely pushing myself to the limit.
You watch the flames, and the beast inside of you keeps pulling you away, and you force yourself step by step closer to it. Not pushing it so far as to leap through a broken window into the burning inferno, but enough that you are pushing it. And eventually, it snaps and swallows you whole. You come to some distance away. The moon is in a different spot. You are in a forest by a stream. There's a small bridge next to you that crosses the stream where a road goes over it. You're not too far from civilization.
Is there enough moonlight to see my face in the stream?
There is. And it looks the same.
Snap my fingers. Dang.
When you stand up, something about the way your clothes hang feels strange on your abdomen.
I'll check under my shirt.
Below your breasts, there is a line of little caterpillar leggies from just under your breasts to about your hip bones.
I'm psyched. This is not what I was expecting, but worth it. I instinctively start writing notes about what I can remember about the feeling of losing control.
There's blankness to it, but pushing yourself and describing as much as you can. You're a journalist after all, so you've got a pretty good gift at this. Once you've got that all written down, you go back up to the road?
Yeah. Have I been told the forests are no good for vampires?
No.
Yeah. But then I'm like, hey, it's a nice night out. I'll go up to the bridge, try and figure out which way civilization is, and go for a nice chill stroll back into town.
There is a sleek black sedan parked on the bridge. There is a man in a black suit and mirror shades leaning against it, smoking a cigarette.
Do I recognize this man?
Not at all. In fact, in the time that you look away to clamber up the last bit, you forget what he looks like, and in fact forget that he's there for a moment insofar as that it startles you when you look back up and see the car and the person standing there and are like, wait a minute, I just saw you, why did I jump?
That seemed like something a technocratic car should be able to do.
This guy's got cloaking on the level of John.
But is he wearing the silver shades?
Yes, this is absolutely a technocratic uniform.
Okay. I presume he looks at me as I clamber up onto the bridge?
Well, you can't quite tell, but he does slightly incline his head towards you. His gaze might be following you under those mirror shades. He doesn't stop smoking the cigarette, though.
Yeah.
Agent Gold One.
Yes?
He smiles as if he was unsure you'd respond to the name. Your work with the Technocratic Union is at a crossroads. Come talk to me. Or run.
Betsy isn't thinking about running. What does Betsy have on her? Like, does she have a sidearm? Or is she missing several things after blacking out?
I would say that you had things fairly fastened to yourselves. A gun wouldn't be something that you would have out in your hand at the moment, so it's still in its holster as if it was in one. I imagine it's like a back of the waistband kind of holster.
Yeah, I just double check that it's there before I walk up and say, I agree, it's time for a change.
The Grey Team has considered you deceased after finding the bodies of your fellow agents. They attempted to find you by your implants, but they have been deactivated with your heartbeat.
Betsy nods, but is staying pretty quiet. She's listening, but she's not saying much.
There is a splinter cell, the Black Team, that could use your services. My benefactor has requested that I approach you when I informed her of your situation.
So not even dying gets you out, huh?
Unfortunately, it does not seem so in your case. Although I would say you would be a unique agent on our team. We need one of you on the inside. Someone who has experienced my world. You will be off the Technocratic Union's official payroll and continue to be deceased by their records. We will assign you a new code name, and you will be a ghost, like all members of the Black Team. Like myself. He nods.
Have I had the concept of the blood bond explained yet?
Yes. Specifically, a few nights previously, you may have either tried to hunt a people or tried to hunt an animal, and Magnus got very upset. We feed on kindred only, is what he will emphasize. He only feeds on other vampires.
Oh.
Wait, so he's just been fucking murdering people in the woods? He doesn't even eat them? He just fucking kills them for being in the woods?
For finding him, yeah.
Homie, make a fucking friend in the goddamn Ventru. Jesus Christ, buddy.
Well, this is what Betsy's for.
Well, Betsy's response is going to be, I'm already bonded to, and what's his real name? I should stop calling him Mothman now that we're not married. Definitely not married in my head. Definitely
Magnus the cannibal, and it may and blood bond is often referred to as a blood wedding, and he is bonded to you as well because he feeds from you.
Then yeah, I say I'm already bonded with Magnus. I assume I'd have to talk to him about it first. I've been searching for him for years, and he's here.
You need not leave him. He is, shall we say, he is a mongoose loosed amongst the snakes.
Betsy nods kind of sadly and goes, yeah, I suppose I can help you then.
Speak to your Magnus. Speak to your regnant. If they wish to speak to me, I can arrange this. He will pull out a black card and hand it to you. It has a weird holographic symbol on it, like sort of like a magic eye poster turned hologram sticker.
Hell yeah.
It will allow you to remember who I am as long as you hold it.
That is important. Betsy will look both ways down the road. Is it obvious which way town is?
I mean, his car's facing one direction, so he probably drove in from town. Would you like a ride?
Yeah.
He will open the passenger side door and move around to get in the driver's seat.
I get in and start trying out these weird new hands, little leg grippy things to see, like, can they move my shirt around?
Yeah, they can.
Oh, that's gross. I will it.
Your responsibilities, he says on the way back, would be upholding what we refer to as the masquerade, the veil of secrecy between the supernatural world and the sleepers. Something you are already familiar with, but I am sure you did not receive enough respect or compensation in your previous workings of it.
I'm literally still not quite sure who I actually am. Hopefully you won't recondition me into realizing that again.
Social conditioning is optional in our cell. My mistress does not allow me to participate in such.
Betsy will just shudder, thinking about conditioning. Be quiet for a long while on the trip, unless he tries to engage more.
No, he will drive you back to a bus stop that's in regular civilization, near-ish to where you need to be.
I got a bus pass still, hopefully.
Call me if you want the job.
I will definitely consider it.
Over the next few nights, the concept of touchstones would be explained, especially seeing as you frenzied once and gained a physical transformation from it. The upkeep of your humanity is vital to most kindred, especially those who interact with regular kindred or mortal society. He finds little enough need for it and has discovered alternate paths. But for your purposes, you will need humanity. For what he needs you for, he will need humanity.
Do I have to ask what he needs me for, or does he make that clear over the next couple days?
He has run low on kindred in the area, so he essentially needs...
Breeding stock?
Yeah, feeding stock.
I'm to maintain a herd. Okay. A herd of vampires.
Yes. You are in a pyramid scheme. Very, very, very literally.
Oh boy, are we gonna have to be hauling stone bricks for this guy too? Holy shit. Okay.
But he finds the killing of humans to be anathema and the feeding on humans to be also anathema. He finds it to be immoral in the highest. You will find that he is a devout Catholic.
Guess what religion I am now?
Catholic. Catholic moth husband and moth wife. You need to find touchstones. You need humans to brace yourself against, in his words. Find rules and people that embody them.
Would my old companions from my past life be a usable touchstone as wanting to protect the spark of enlightenment? I still see the power of magic and want humans to keep doing that.
Yeah, I think that
a pair of
Oliver
rogue
would be a
mages
very
on the
good.
road.
Oliver would be a very good touchstone for that. What one could you assign to John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt?
That one's a hard one too. It's perfect. It's copywritten already. It's Keep, Portland, weird. From dying, did they revoke my forklift certification?
Ooh, I mean, it's got a couple of years till it expires on the card. If they double checked it, then they'd find out that you were dead and be like, oh, no, this isn't valid, but nobody's gonna look at your forklift certification and then check for a death certificate.
Is there any way to make a touchstone out of still adhering to the idea of protecting the general populace from the horrors of what's behind the masquerade?
I actually was thinking that would be a good one for John.
That would work too.
Keep the spark of enlightenment alive for Ollie, who is magical and curious and blurs the boundary between enlightenment and magic, and keep the veil between the mortals and the supernatural, because you've seen what it did to John.
It's fucked.
But that does mean that you will need to get in contact with them.
You do know that's why John and Ollie ended up together in the end, is because they both saw and spoke to God multiple times.
Well, Betsy's had her come to God moment. Except it was come to Mothman.
Come to Mothman.
Oh, she does.
Over the table, though, Betsy might not have a way to reach out to Ollie and John, but Xandra does.
Oh, that's a good point.
Oh.
So I suppose I would speak to Oliver and tell him to go someplace. I don't tell him why.
Somewhere up in the Sylvan Hills. The Troll Bridge.
Gotta pay the troll toll.
It's a bridge that people have just stapled a bunch of troll dolls to.
That sounds exactly correct. Betsy doesn't know this meeting's going to happen, so Betsy is surprised that Oliver is here.
Oliver, when you get this message from your deity, the first one in a while, it will have been a few weeks since you started living with John at his house. What's that like?
Oh, I'm sure that's super wholesome, doing the house stuff of cleaning it all up. I'm sure we just finished finally getting everything all set up, cleaned the last room, once taking down the last picture of Marjorie and putting up like the first picture of the three of us that like somehow squirreled away. Ollie's plating dinner.
Kick-ass chicken parmesan.
And then just voice in head. So of course immediately goes in and tells John, Hey, the voice just said that on this day I need to be at Washington Park Troll Bridge out in the Sylvan Hills. I think we should go.
I've learned to listen to the voices in your head. I don't understand it, but and John will eye a walkie-talkie that is in a corner in a box.
It will squawk feebly.
Oh, now I feel bad for it. John will go pick it up.
It gives a little feedback and then crackles to a voice. I trust the voices in his head.
All right, then we got 2 votes for the voices in your head. That makes 3. Let's go.
Right. And sure.
And Betsy, Agent Cold One.
I got to pick my own name.
They very much would like to name you Agent Cold One.
Betsy agrees.
As you're mulling over Agent Volkov's offer, Agent Black's offer, you're trying to get back into the habit of being human, at least in so much as you're able. One of the things that you love to do is look at the weird of Portland, and you heard rumors of the Troll Bridge. So on this night, you're driving out there, and you pull up to the bridge. It's a railroad bridge. It's on a downhill in the mountains, so that the bridge crosses perpendicular. The trolls, some of them are tied with ribbons or string, some of them are stapled. There's a few pictures of troll dolls that seem to have been printed out poorly and stapled there.
I'm definitely taking pictures, especially pictures of poorly made pictures.
Yes. John and Oliver, how did you get here? John's got a car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I probably drove.
So headlights come up. Betsy.
I probably flush my life.
So you're at Hunger 2. You've been at Hunger 2 before. It's been a few weeks, so you're not entirely new at this. But you flush the life to your skin, feeling your little leggies waggle a little bit and still them.
Play it chill. Nobody needs to know there's a vampire out here. I'm just out here.
Calm thy tent.
John, you're coming up this narrow, winding road up the Sylvan Hills, and you see the bridge,
Mm-hmm.
see the dolls, and as you're coming up, your headlights illuminate a Betsy.
Oh, God. That'd be it.
Betsy, you can't quite tell who this is yet, seeing as the headlights are blocking out vision of the people inside and the license plate.
Yeah. I try and cover my sight from the headlights with one hand and wave like I'm just here not doing anything criminal, because I'm not.
And
Yeah.
got a camera and a
Uh,
notebook.
John will shift the car into idle, but still not turning it off, and lean his head out, open his door a crack, and go, Bartholomew, what are you doing here?
John's
Bartholomew?
voice is easy to recognize.
It was a name.
Detective? You're alive?
No. And he will go back into the car real quick and let Ollie come out.
Ollie will open the door and get out. John, be nice. John is a 60-year-old man, and Ollie is a 20-year-old twink that have, by trauma bond, slowly fell in love.
He had an evil sugar mama. It was great.
They were roommates, is what historians will say.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry, honey. It's a trigger. I'm good.
It's valid. It's valid, darling. It really is. But, I mean, the nice lady in my head that gives me magic said for me to come here. So,
Eh,
hi.
I'm trusting you, babe.
Hi, Betsy.
Hi, kid. What are you guys doing here?
One of the voices chimed in and said that the place to be, apparently.
You're genius?
Another voice chimes in. This one is dead and will die further if she doesn't have a touchstone. She needs humanity.
The voices speak only the truth. And so I'll, open my arms up at Betsy and I didn't hear it, did. Hug motion.
Betsy will walk forward and take the hug, but seems Suspicious. Looking around, does it seem like there's a Spectre car pulling in somewhere around us, or do these two appear not to have been tailed?
They appear not to have been tailed. It's John's
You
car.
think someone could follow me?
Yes.
I am very sneaky.
Agent Black probably could, but doesn't seem to have. Agent Black is specifically trained for that kind of thing.
Okay.
Could, but didn't. At least doesn't seem to have. If he's out there, you can't see him. If you saw him, you can't remember it.
I'm sorry for disappearing.
I got married.
Magnus found us.
Oh, are you good for you?
Is she a moth lady? Is that what that means?
Far worse, detective. I am a vampire, and I'll flash the fangs.
Oh, Jesus H. Christ, Betsy.
Of the clan Gangrel, we are Magnus is, and I now am, unnatural, and disfigure over time. But it turns out not even dying can get you out of the technocracy. You don't look like you're in a company car, though. Are you guys out?
Yeah, we escaped from Miss B. She gonna have us both cross bag of tricks.
Yeah. After the Bida fire incident, no.
I'm glad you got out. Magnus broke my conditioning, at least partially, and it was an experience realizing that my entire personality was a story that had been put inside me over who I really am. She gestures at her patchwork coat.
Yeah, you never looked like a cop.
Never felt like one. I'm happy for you, Betsy.
I'm happy for you guys too. So, and she looks over at the bridge and goes, "You seen this?"
And with that, Oliver and Betsy will appreciate the troll bridge, and Betsy will find a rare moment of humanity. And assuming that over the course of the next hour or so, Oliver can coax John out of the car and finally have a conversation with Betsy, Betsy's humanity will go up to 7 and gain the 2 touchstones.
Only because Ollie asked me to.
And then I'm also going to insist that we take another group picture.
Is
The
what I'm
walls
going
are
to take.
barren.
John will nod and sigh and, yep, agree to it.
Plus, we wanted to start making frames anyways.
You're not wrong. We need more pictures up.
You have to meet Magnus, Oliver. He's dreamy.
Love that. Could do a double.
Do you know any restaurants that allow Mothman?
Oh, we don't eat food. It turns to biblical ash in our mouths.
Movie night in. Could have them over.
I'll-
Maybe your first guest.
I'll get some wine and I'll get you an empty bottle. How about that? John was very excited about bringing some wine.
I mean, the wine in the cellar has aged nicely since you abandoned the place.
Yeah, no, that's vintage now. Shit.
That would be great, detective.